Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
Welcome into Home Track Heroes here on the CW11. Very happy to have you with us on another Sunday night, packed full of action. We've got so much to get to here in this show. It's going to be a great time. I'm Caleb Hart. The fabulous Mackenzie Dietz joins me here in the booth. Mackenzie, thank you for coming back. We've got a ton of racing within your specialty tonight, two different divisions of figure eights. We've got two Pro Late Model 50-lap main events and a whole host of other things, and a special guest we're getting to later. This is going to be awesome.
It's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. Thanks for having me back.
You did fabulous the first time. We'll do fabulous the second time. Like I said, Gundy's Auto Recycling Night, two Pro Late Model 50-lap A main events coming up. The Outlaw Figure Eights, the Stinger Eights, the Mini Stocks, and the Hornet Division. All on track for you. You're going to see a variety of different courses run, a whole bunch of different kinds of race cars, and some really cool in-car shots as well as a special guest. We couldn't be more excited to have you here with us at Evergreen Speedway on Home Track Heroes. With that being said, we got a ton to get to, so let's get to it. First on the track, it's our first of two 50-lap Pro Late Model features for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Models. Your pole sitter, Daniel Moore in the 16, sponsored by PRCBD, and Nick Beecher next to him, the 45, is sponsored by Kendall Auto Group.
Behind the first row, you have the 78 of Haley Constant, sponsored by Joe's Racing Products. And next to her, we have the 98 of Greg Bennett, sponsored by Bennett Design Construction.
Get a look at the triple shot there. We'll tell you the rest of the field. Caden Holm in the 9K. Johansson Mechanical, his sponsor. Dawson Cox, the 7D, sponsored by Busch Light. They're already gassing her up and coming to green. So we'll tell you who the rest of them are. Chad Fitzpatrick in the 12. Nama Lang, the 18. Ted Lindgren, the 88. Colton Price, the 14. Dan Beecher, Brad Thomas, Brian Cottrell, Angel Cervantes, and Chase Gardner. Pick your favorite, root them on. They're already off and rolling. Greg Bennett, upper left corner. Ted Lindgren making his Pro Late Model debut. Watching Nama Lang sneak underneath him and by him. And then the fabulous Chad Fitzpatrick, who's also been a color commentator here on the show, running in the fifth spot right now and trying to work his way to the inside. As lap number one, it's Daniel Moore shooting out to the early lead. And in hot pursuit already is Nick Beecher as this field gets settled in. 2 of 50 in twin 50-lap main events. These guys and gals are going to have their work cut out for them.
They really do. And, I mean, you have Haley Constance in third place right now, and she's really trying to get caught up to Beecher and finish in that top spot.
Yeah, she has been looking for some momentum since she's been a fabulous rookie. In her second year, pretty good as well. She's looking for that very first main event win. Currently occupying the third spot with Caden Holm and Chad Fitzpatrick right behind. There goes Fitzpatrick, already feeling his oats and going up to the middle groove to try to look and get around Holm. Holm denies him coming out of the fourth corner. It is Moore, Beecher, Constance 1 through 3. Constance with a whole lot of Caden Holm in her rear view mirror at the moment. Fitzpatrick rounding out your top 5. Now, 50-lap main event. These drivers normally go 75 on a single feature over the course of the night. So this race, a little more of a sprint than a marathon from what they're used to. And a guy like Daniel Moore already expanding this lead early over Beecher. It's a good sign for the driver of the PRCBD 16 is 6 laps into this. He's already built himself a neat little advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely it's different with the 50 laps compared to the 75 laps. It makes you wonder, what their kind of mindset is, and as well as kind of their plan for the race. Are they going to take it easy, or are they going to hammer down? It's interesting to see.
It's something that you've got familiarity with. You're normally out in your car in a 30-lap A feature, but a couple of times a year, you guys go long distances. Does it take a different kind of prep from the driver's seat to get ready for those either shorter or longer races, depending on what you're coming into?
I mean, you definitely don't want to burn your tires off, and I think that's where, with this class, saving your tires is really important on some of the longer races. But, I mean, yeah, you definitely want to make your tires last for the entire race. So Daniel Moore right now not worried about tire wear even of the least. The best battle on track has flashed into your screen a couple of times between the 9 of Caden Holm and the 12 of Chad Fitzpatrick. The last time by, Fitzpatrick almost looked like he had 4 underneath the white line coming out of turn number 2 trying to make the move. He continues to look through the middle of 3 and 4, but nothing's been there for him yet. Holm doing a good job of hanging on to the 4th spot. He's right on the back of Constance, who holding strong in 3rd. They're all chasing Daniel Moore, who continues to have an easy-going lead in this first main event. We're already 10 laps into it. Absolutely, and Constance is doing a great job of holding Holm back. I mean, they're all nose to tail going into these corners, and she's definitely doing a great job holding off those guys and Fitzpatrick and Holm just kind of all doing their thing, going through the corners.
If you take a look at it, between the top 8 starters, that inside row is the one that's making up most of the top 5 right now, with Daniel in the lead. Beecher managed to tuck in line, but then Constance, Holm, and Fitzpatrick, all inside lane cars. The guys on the outside, Bennett, Cox, Lang, they're on the inside looking in as you see Bennett and Lang finally trying to move forward. And Nema looks like he's got a little run to the inside of Greg as Greg got up on the back of Fitzpatrick and is trying to get underneath him. Some chain reaction racing happening as Nema makes the move. He's going for 6 coming out of turn number 2. Nema Lang in the 18 car, 13 laps into this, goes door panel to door panel. With Greg Bennett, they'll touch a bit off the turn, but the veteran drivers managed to not make it any worse than it was, and Lang advance him into that spot, but Bennett making him work for it, still working hard in the middle groove to try to keep him back a position.
Yeah, and the bottom groove seems to be where everybody's comfortable at. You know, it's definitely, you know, a hot day, and so I wonder if we'll start to see people start to move out later on in the race.
These drivers not used to going off at this point in time of the day, as well as the Pro Late models. If they're going early on the day, it's because they've got bad weather, cool conditions. They're almost always the last car to run, so a little more temp. They've got to put a mid-afternoon tire temperature setting into it, as your leader Daniel Moore now lapping people, already putting, I think that's Cottrell's 10 that he's putting a lap down, or it's 32 Chase Gardner, right? So Gardner is going a lap down there, 17 in, and Moore with half a straightaway on Beecher as they're lapping drivers. There goes Beecher, and here comes Constance trying to follow. With again, Holm and Fitzpatrick, just not a lot of movement here in the first portion of this race for what is a relatively short race for these drivers.
You know, one of the things that I was looking at is on this race, or excuse me, on the track, you have part of the track that's covered and is shaded, and you have the other half of the track right on the back stretch where it's just all sun, so the temperatures are hotter. So I wonder if, you know, adjusting how you're driving through each corner, you know, it's going to be a little bit tighter potentially right there going into 1 and 2, just because you have that shade, and then the back stretch 3 and 4 is.
You're saying tighter. The track would be cooler in that situation because it's sitting in the shade.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, grippier.
Yeah.
Is that the better way to put it?
Yeah. So if you're going in 3 and 4, that could make it potentially looser, at least on the figure 8 track, when a couple weeks ago when we were racing and it has that different temperature. Sometimes you kind of have to adjust your driving into each corner. Different
places to pick up the throttle, different place to start your braking zone, etc., right?
Yeah, because if you see them kind of coming out of 3 and 4 compared to going into 1 and 2, I'm not seeing as much movement or sliding around.
Well, right there's a driver sliding forward. Haley Constance to the inside of Nick Beecher making the move, and Caden Holm following. Nearly a little tap from the back of Holm to Constance as she made her way past. Beecher got strung in that outside groove, and right now, bottom dominant here for the Pro Late models is that middle to outside, just not quite quick enough. If somebody gets strung up there, it looks like they're losing multiple positions as here comes Fitzpatrick trying to work his way up and into 4th, and he's going to go around the in-car shot from the Brandy Hood Promotions GoPro Mountain. Chad Fitzpatrick does the loop, and wow, tough break for Chad there. That's a rough go.
Great save.
Great stave, rough go, good run. He's going to lose positions, and we're going to have to go back to the pack or back to the front and see exactly what happened. So great look at the in-car and how quickly that can happen too. Well, we'll go back in car now for a couple of different looks as the field is doubled up. Bottom right-hand corner of the screen, Daniel Moore on the inside, Haley Constance up on the outside as they'll go 2 by 2, coming to the restart stripe, and we are underway. Huge opportunity for all the drivers who went to the outside to try to pick up a position. Although Moore with an excellent restart on the inside, he will retake and re-solidify the lead. In second is Constance. The battle for third looking awfully good as on the inside, it's Beecher rolling away to the outside. Nema finding some momentum and some room to scoot around. We've seen Lang able to pass in that middle to outside groove multiple times over the course of our Home Track Heroes program, and he will nose ahead of Beecher coming through 3 and 4. So give the third position to Lang for now. Beecher's still there, making him earn it in the outside groove, cruising around 1 and 2 again. Up front, Haley right on the back of Moore. Daniel did not get away quite as well as he did the first time.
No, she's definitely catching up to him.
This time by halfway home, 25 down, 25 to go. Lang still working to overtake Beecher. Constance still with Moore eyeballing him. A car length back as they go into turn 3. Here's Beecher fighting back. You can see a little bump through the corner. He's trying to bring home with him. On the inside, Beecher retakes third from Lang, coming through 1 and 2. It's a great job of determination and fight on Nick Beecher to not just give that position up easy.
Absolutely. You know, I was talking to Nick Beecher last week, and he was really excited for this race. They made some changes, and he was really looking forward to it. So really exciting seeing him and Lang having this great battle for position.
Nick and that Oberg crew have worked really hard to try to get that car better on medium to longer runs as Nema better set of corners in 3 and 4. We've got a lot more racing to come. Lang's going to retake third. What'll happen? Don't change that channel. We're coming back with more Home Track Heroes next here on the CW11. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on the CW11. About 10 more laps eclipsed while you guys were at commercial break. And Daniel Moore still in firm control of this one. Moore, Constance, Lang, 1, 2, and 3. And that 1 and 2 have been connected in those positions here nearly the entire race. It's been a great showing for Moore and a great showing for Constance. It's Lang who's jumped up in the top 3 looking to play a spoiler here, but not a lot of laps to go. 9 left. Down the back straightaway they roll, and about 2.5 car lengths separate your top 3 drivers. Daniel Moore been a hot minute since he was in victory lane, looking to take back that top spot and take home the top check and trophy, at least from this first of 2 Pro Late Model 50 lappers. We're looking back in the field, a couple of our young guns going after it. Dawson Cox in the 7, Colton Price in the 14, Chad Fitzpatrick trying to rally his way forward back on the field after that earlier race spin out as we're down to 7 to go. Now your leader's coming into traffic. This is bad news for Daniel Moore as there are cars ahead of him and 2 fast drivers coming up behind him. Danger Daniel Moore. Let's see how he decides to tackle this with 2 cars and one of them a little squirrely up in front of him. 32 of Gardner, one of those 2 from what it looked like. Trying to get the back end of that car moved around, and he saw it step out on him. So Moore, Constance, Lang coming in the last couple, and both of those drivers who were ahead have now moved up raceway to let those couple through. So Gardner moves up. Looks like Dan Beecher is going to get up and out of the lane, and that's a great thing for Moore as now he gets to race unencumbered with lap traffic. Moore, Constance, Nema makes it by as well. So it's a 4-lap shootout here. No tire conservation necessary. It is go for the top and see what happens. Caden Holm in the 9 car clearing the 2 pieces of slower traffic, bringing Greg Bennett with him, but a ways back. If something happened in the top 3, Caden would be in position to pounce, but he's got some room to make up. 3 to go, and Moore still looking smooth. Constance doing everything she can to roll in.
Yeah, she's definitely trying to hold off Lang. I mean, they've made a pretty good separation from the rest of the pack, so we'll see what the next 3 laps have in store.
That one cloud has just come up and above and put more of the racetrack in darkness, although the cloud moves, it comes back in the sunshine, so we won't see changing track conditions over these last couple of laps. To the white flag goes Daniel Moore, looking to pick up his first Evergreen Speedway win in just a bit. Haley Constance looking for what would be a career best in 2nd. 3rd, Nema Lang as they're down the back straightaway for the final time. And into the corner, a great 50-lap race for Daniel Moore, who's going to take the victory. Congratulations to him. Constance in 2nd. Give 3rd to Nema as the first of 2 50-lap main events is done for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late models. And we go down to the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium.
Well, Nema, I think the best place to start is after that caution. You took the outside of lane 2, and that was the only time that seemed to work for anyone. How did that happen?
Well, the 3 cars in front of me all chose the bottom, so I just jumped up, gained a spot, and went to the top side. It is a little tougher out there when this track's warm like that, but I probably used up a little more tire than I should have, but it was good.
You think you got better chances out there then in the night race?
I hope so. Just slight adjustment off, but I was just trying to save as much as I can without getting that thing sideways because I know we got another 50 to go.
Who would you like to thank for the 3rd place finish in this first 50?
Absolutely, all my guys, my crew that work hard, JNR Motorsports, JNR Truck Rentals, Lang Auto Sports, and Tracy DeYoung from DeYoung Inc.
Driver the number 18, third place in the first 50, Nema Lang. You had quite the drive in the Joe's Racing Products 78. What was it like there trying to chase down the 16 in those final laps?
It was a lot of fun. I wasn't trying to drive too rough, sorry, because I know we have the second 50, and I'm excited for that and see what else we can do.
That 78 car seemed to be doing fantastic along that bottom line. What's the secret to running there?
You know, a good crew behind me really helps a lot. We've been having some mechanical issues and electrical issues, and we finally got that all figured out, and we can get it on the podium.
Who would you like to thank for the second place tonight?
A huge thanks to my dad, everybody who came out tonight, the fans, Central Welding, Mike Buell and his wife for coming out, mytrafficcommand.net, Wade's Gun Shop, DeYoung Inc., and I'm probably forgetting certain people, but I think that's it right now.
Driver the number 78, Haley Constance, second place in the first main. Drove a great race in that number 16, started on the pole and finished up in front. You handled that car super well. What was it like seeing all those familiar faces in the rearview mirror?
I try not to pay attention behind me. My spotter does a good job in the PRCBD car to tell me how we're doing, and we can pace the field, kind of just stay in front of them. But it was a great race. You know, we led every lap, and feels good. We missed a race. We had some mechanical problems, and Steve and my dad, we spent a lot of hours getting the car back together and back on the podium. It feels real good.
It's great to have you out here. Who would you like to thank for your performance out here tonight?
I really got to thank PRCBD, great company. They support us, and we can't thank them enough, along with J2 Racing, Dreadnought Brewery, and AccuTab Gaming.
And of course, the last question, think you can do it again tonight?
We're going to give it hell. I don't know what the invert's going to be, but it'll be fun. It'll be a good night.
Driver the number 16, first place in the first 50, Daniel Moore.
Well, our own personal Von Trapp child, Derek Todoroff, doing the podium interview. Thank you, Derek. Let's move on. It's time for the reverse boot and the Hornets. I love the reverse boot. This is one of the best courses these guys run.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the reverse boot, so it'll be exciting.
Interstate Battery's Hornet main event on the track for 30 laps. Brian McNamara is on the pole in the 101, sponsored by True Line Wheel and Frame. Pat Folger in the 30, sponsored by Olympia Pizza, make up the front row.
Second row's 88 of Garrett Kramer, sponsored by Northwest Security and Sound. The 025 of Trent Gillespie, sponsored by Burger Madness.
Row 3, Hunter Jenkins, the Elite Construction Contractors, number 85, and the unsponsored, or at least that we know of, 231, Bryce Kolar starts 6th.
Behind the third row, we got the 17S of Gino Solomon, sponsored by Valley Asphalt. And next to Gino, we have the 28 of Ethan Payne.
The 5th row makes up Bobby Fisher. North Sound Fence sponsors the 81, and the 163 of Annika Duncan, who is sponsored by Misfit Motorsports.
We got the 25 of Stephen Dodson behind Bobby Fisher, and next to him we have the 49 of Calvin Miller, sponsored by Precision Forestry, Inc., out of Arlington, Washington.
Row behind them, Christian Miller with very fast 77 car, sponsored by Turbo Espresso, and next to him, the versatile Zach Bristol in the 07, who's sponsored by Gourmet Latte.
Then we got the 33 of Ryan Hausenfleck, sponsored by Cornerstone Homes, and next to him we got the 00 of Dan Miller, sponsored by Exterior Wall Systems.
We are accelerating going green, but the rest of them, Brad Gruel in the G2, Diesel Snyder the 717, Matt Snyder the 15, 85X of Jeremy Smith, the 11 of Mike Hawley, 17 of Owen Craig, 23 of Tammy White, and the 19 of Scarlett Fisher, who you are on board right now with the Brandy Hood Promotions GoPro shot as you watch her slow her on down, drive past the spun-out Diesel Snyder, going through the access road, and then coming through to get this race up and underway. Trent Gillespie, benefit of a row 2 start, and he's sure taking advantage of that. Trent already out to a nice-sized advantage over Kolar, who is second, and Jenkins in the 3rd spot here in the early going. Running these guys in the sunshine and not in a wet race really shows off the new paved areas that we put in over the past couple of off seasons here at Evergreen Speedway. You can see everything that was added and lets us run a cool course like the reverse boot. So watch them through 1 and 2, or actually what is 3 and 4 here on the reverse. And here's the first part of that new paved portion down through the access road, and you can see on that new pavement how tight Gillespie is cutting the corner to those Uke tires, as Kolar's 231. Actually, it looks like he closed on him the last time around, so Gillespie and Kolar 1 and 2. Jenkins hanging out in the 3rd spot, a ways back from then, and then the field getting very stretched out in a big hurry. That means we're going to have traffic sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and you got a good battle for, is that fourth with the 88 and the 30 car. Looks like they're, well, now the 88 car is getting some space between them, but there's a good battle going back there.
It's amazing how quickly some of that can change here on this course, because you got to be able to keep your foot in it. I believe you look at the reverse boot, and one of the things Gillespie's doing, you don't really see him braking a lot, so that discrepancy between drivers who can keep their foot in it and keep their momentum up between those who are scrubbing speed and having to use their brakes can cause a lot of that, oh, they're close, oh, they're really not close in a big hurry, right?
Yeah, I mean, you see Gillespie going into, the turn there, getting close to that wide tire and then kind of taking it wide, getting up close to the kind of the front stretch area to get some more speed.
Allows him to keep his foot in it and keep that speed up. Meanwhile, we've got a car turned around. That is the 28 of Ethan Payne, who is the wrong direction. Let's take a look and see what happened inside as he goes around, this time from Christian Miller, and around goes Payne. Look out. Whew, that was close. That was tight.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. They were looking at doing some pretty serious body work on those race cars if they had snuck by him and hit him. So we get a caution. We're going to go back to action here on the reverse boot for the Interstate Batteries Hornets. Let you guys know that this segment is brought to you by APC Auto Spa, a budget-friendly automotive detail shop in Monroe that focuses on high-end customer experience. They offer complimentary loaner cars for their services, including hand washes, interior and exterior details, paint correction, ceramic coatings, and paint protection film. APC Auto Spa in Monroe, your car will thank you. We're back to green, and we got a new leader on the restart. Kolar around Gillespie, and just like that, shows you how important restarts are here at Evergreen Speedway. You got a new leader.
That was a great in-car camera of Brad Gruhl. You're able to see kind of everybody bunched up, trying to make passes, get through the tight corners.
Meanwhile, back up front, and we talked a little bit about how wide some of these drivers were taking the corners and where they come off. Kolar took a big wide berth into the access road in the back, so we're going to flash back a little ways. Calvin Miller is in the 49, Kramer is in the 88, Bobby Fisher in the 81, and Calvin Miller is looking to pick up another spot. Calvin started relatively buried in this field. He was our 12th place starter, and he is working his way forward quite nicely. Meanwhile, for the lead, we'll just go back and forth a little bit. Gillespie's right back up on Kolar, and we're watching Calvin Miller weave through and bringing Zach Bristol with him right in behind him in the 07. So it's Calvin and Bristol carving through this field. Meanwhile, your leader's duking it out up front for that top spot, and just like that, new leader, Kolar, got way, way wide there in that fourth and third corner, and that allows Gillespie to get away.
Yeah, looks like he's about to pull off, so I wonder if something happened.
Something must have busted. 7 laps into this 30-lap A feature on the reverse boot for the Interstate Batteries Hornets. Second now will be Hunter Jenkins. Bobby Fisher will be third, and that shuffles up Miller and Bristol to knocking on the door of a podium finish. Now you can see the way the track's laid out right now. Big gap between first, second, and third, and then this big gap between fourth and fifth, who we're watching right now, with Miller in the blue with white 49 and Bristol with the black, white, and red 07 car. They're racing each other, and they're trying to catch up to the guys in front of them at the same time. That can be tough.
It can be, but it looks like they're closing the gap coming into the corners.
Race in front of them might be helping them quite a bit on that, as Fisher has worked his way to the inside on Jenkins. Jenkins trying to battle him using the outside, at least at the third and fourth corner. Jenkins can hold it, though. He'll have the inside here through the access road. Couldn't make it pay off. He's going to drift back, and now Miller right up on him looking for third. Contact through the turn between Jenkins and Fisher. Door opens for Miller. Miller's got to be careful. Bristol right there looking to the inside as well. Zach Bristol thought about it. Couldn't quite get through. So work down the back straightaway again. Fisher putting some really nice laps together. It's Jenkins who's holding up the herd of Miller and Bristol right now. We're only a third of the way complete on this.
You got Jenkins doing 3 wheels through the corner right there.
Hiking up a front tire. Nice spot. Nice eyes. I didn't see it. You did. Now Miller inside of Jenkins. At the apex of the turn, he's going to make the pass. So Jenkins should shuffle backwards. Bristol now going to try to do the same thing. And Bristol in and by. And holy cow, you're right. He's lifting the left rear off the ground, or the right rear, I guess, as it is, coming into that turn. And that's got to be an unsettling feeling. turning right and having the back end trying to float up on you. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, going into a corner, you want as much tire on the on the ground as possible.
Exactly. So you're watching Gillespie, who is now into slower traffic. It's Tammy White's 23 that he is getting up and around, and he still has a nice pad over Fisher, who's second. 13 laps to go for Bobby, and third and fourth right behind him. In fact, Bristol in position to try to make a move on Calvin. As they come through, you'll see them enter the picture once again in a matter of mere seconds. Gillespie 1, Fisher 2, and now Bristol is got by Miller 4th, 3rd. Calvin with a, wow, what a run to get back in and by Bristol. So Calvin Miller finding even more speed. We didn't even know it was there.
That was definitely a great run, and you know him and Bristol are definitely great competitors, and I'm loving watching this.
This has been a blast as we're just about to the halfway point. They're going to have the slower traffic of White to deal with. They make their way into the back straightaway. Calvin picking a spot, will dart to the inside to try to make the pass. They're all chasing down the only man brave enough to race a hatchback. All right, that's not true. Trent Gillespie, your current race leader, going through the 4th and 3rd turns of the reverse boot. Das reverse boot. Bobby Fisher second with that red nose blue car, white number 81, a little ways back, coming up to try to lap the 101 of Brian McNamara. And Gillespie showing a little smoke off the 4th corner. Don't know if the car just skittered out wide or what. Meanwhile, Fisher doing everything he can to keep him in eyesight range. Bristol and Miller hoping for an opportunity to run them down as this race continues to mature. Gillespie, lots of speed, deep inside the white line, barely misses the Uke tire coming through the corner, but manages to get past McNamara to make the pass. 13 laps to go for Trent. Nice for the leader at this point in time that this lap traffic's not battling for position anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a hole that he saw, and he just went for it.
Without them side by side, he kind of gets to pick his spot and pick his lane that he's shooting for to make the pass. And that's huge for keeping your momentum up on a course like this. Once again, a look at Miller and Bristol in the 3rd and 4th position. 18 laps down, 12 to go. Calvin Miller, Zach Bristol might have 2 of the fastest car on the raceway, but they're battling the clock here as Gillespie continues to put slower cars in behind him, and Bobby Fisher trying to do the same thing. As they roll up on the 11 of Mike Hawley, and Hawley in danger of going a lap down himself. A look back to the battle for 3rd as Bristol tried rolling wide around the corner. Let's see if he tries to go wide around 3 and 4 here. Zach's kind of been around the bottom for the most part of this main event. Now he moves to the middle. You see Miller gets the advantage at the apex, but Bristol has been able to keep his foot in the throttle pedal longer. Let's see if he tries to dive bomb Calvin coming into this corner through the slower traffic as Miller's going to tuck in behind Owen Craig 16. Zach right there in case something goes sour, but no dice there. 10 to go in what feels like a pretty rapidly moving A main event here for the Interstate Batteries Hornets. Other than that one caution we saw earlier, 3rd and 4th in heavy traffic, and we got a car around, and it catches Calvin Miller in the process. So that car around has caught Miller. It's the 163 of Annika Duncan. Let's take a peek at that, and as you take a look, we go to break. More Hornet A-Main coming up next on Home Track Heroes. This episode of Home Track Heroes has been super intense so far. Great racing here in the Interstate Battery Hornet A main event. I'm Caleb Hart. She's Mackenzie Dietz, and we are back to the racetrack to finish this one off. It has been wild there. On the reverse boot, we get a side-by-side restart here with just a handful of laps left to go. Mackenzie down the front straightaway they go. It's been all Trent Gillespie, but now Zach Bristol and Bobby Miller starting right on his back, and somebody's going full send up to the high groove. What in the world is happening here?
Oh, absolutely. They saw the green, and they just put the pedal to the floor.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. It looks like Gillespie holds the top spot. Bristol moves his way into second as Christian Miller from the in-car cam. Oh, he's looking to split the difference, and he's got somebody really squirrely up in front of him. That's scary. Coming off the turn. All right, somebody goes cattywampus. Oh, Miller comes up, smacks the wall. And let's get a look at the replay. That was weird. I couldn't keep track of everything that was happening there, but that's the benefit of the second look. So from Calvin Miller's perspective, as he's sneaking underneath Holly, there he watches, and whoop, car right out of line in Christian, and by him he goes. Let's watch again from the in-car of Christian coming out of the corner. Oh, yeah, he got a Nerf job to get up there. Ow. That cost him a left front tie rod. All right, well, bad news for Christian Miller. Good news for everybody else who liked that side-by-side restart is a lot happened in there. There's a lot of potential for change.
Definitely. I mean, that was quick. Lots of cars moved up.
Well, let's go back to the action on the track. They'll double them up once again. This segment brought to you by Bardall Manufacturing, located in Seattle, a world leader in automotive lubricants with oils, additives, and lubricants for your car, truck, boat, or motorized toy. Pick the brand racers around the world rely on. Bardall, celebrating over 82 years in business and operating in 90 countries. Make Bardall your brand. Restart, good for Gillespie. Fisher trying to get by him. You can see him in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, sawing on the steering wheel, grabbing for the shifter and trying to figure out where he wants to be. Calvin Miller's trying to pick his way up from the back as you watch the whole field rolling through on the restart. Gino Solomon in the 17S of Solomon, 88 of Garrett Kramer coming in through the pack, and we've just got 9 laps to go in this. Gillespie's been the class of the field. Boy, second and third, Bobby Fisher and Zach Bristol having good races as well. You wonder if something going to shake loose here in the final few.
Yeah, they've definitely been able to reel him in and get a little bit closer, so this will be interesting to see.
Bobby has a nice little move into the middle of the corner. Got to be a weird feeling carrying all that speed and turning right all of a sudden, especially off that long straightaway coming out of the corner. So work down in through the access road onto the back straightaway of the 5th mile. Fisher can't get underneath Gillespie there. Here's where he carries the most momentum, though, and you can see it as he swings to the outside. Now, if he can get that car through the apex without drifting too wide, see if he can keep his speed up going into the transition. Through the transition he goes. Bristol closes, but neither of them can do anything with Gillespie. Gillespie's just got the right handle in the right spot. Continues to pace this field with 6 to go. Now Bristol to the inside. Down onto the rumble strip. That'll rattle your fillings. Back straightaway again. Bristol backed out of it. In 4th, 25 car, Steven Dodson. First time we have called his name here over the course of Home Track Heroes. And Dodson having a nice showing. That's Ryan Hausenfluck, who's worked his way up into position 5, the reigning track champion in the Interstate Batteries Hornet division. And Hausenfluck moved his way forward on this field, got himself in a position to put together a pretty good point score. Top 5 is single file and broken away from the rest of the pack. You don't expect to see lap traffic heavy, maybe even minimal by the time this is done, as you get a look once again at the 17S of Solomon. Car was wiggling around a little bit. So 4 to go, and the question is, Bobby Fisher or Zach Bristol have anything for Gillespie? Trent's not getting away like he was. Bristol putting himself in a spot to make a move on Fisher. He got to the side of Bobby coming through. Now can he hold it? Getting in here to the corner of the 5th mile. Bobby did a good job of defending and getting back down, but Mackenzie Bristol has a shot here late to pick up at least one more spot. The 07 looks potent.
Absolutely. I mean, just watching them race this entire race so close, and Bristol having some really good battles for the position that he's in.
Good respect being shown between Fisher and Bristol as well. Those guys have gone a lot of laps without tapping each other, touching each other, or chopping each other over the course of this race. They've had plenty of opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and you usually see that a little bit.
In the Hornet division, no mercy is taken, no quarter will be given, right? I know some other classes that are like that. We might see them later. 2 to go. Gillespie, Fisher, and Bristol 1 through 3 with Dodson and Hausenfluck lingering. Now one more time, and what do they got? It's desperation time for Fisher and Bristol. White flag out for Trent Gillespie, who is threatening to go wire to wire here in the Hornet A main event. Not something that you see often, although Trent had an excellent starting spot here in this afternoon show. One more time into the transition to the back straightaway, and one more series of right-hand turns and off the corner. Ooh, got a little tight late, but Gillespie gets the job done. Trent Gillespie, Bobby Fisher, and Zach Bristol 1 through 3. And at the very end, we got a car going around as the 15 of Matt Snyder. And Snyder gets a nose right into him by Ethan Payne. Well, it's one way to make the show, guys. Sorry it happened that way. Let's go talk to our winners of the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort Podium.
Zach charging up through the field, new car for this weekend, ditching the Focus, but looks like this one performs just as well.
I ditched the Focus because I sold it. I was going to get away from Hornets. And the new owner of the Focus, Damon, he let me run a couple races. I love this class. 15 years, I'm still running Hornets. It's a lot of fun with these guys and gals. Bought the car from Tommy Hibbs a couple weeks ago. That thing is a rocket ship. I finally have power, right gearing. I'm so thankful to have that car now.
I know before that last caution, everybody was kind of strung out. So how excited were you to see that last yellow when you were battling with Calvin there for the 4th spot?
I wasn't really happy to see it. I mean, me and Calvin, we duked it out for 10 laps. He's a great racer. I love running with him. I overshot the corner, body checked him, let him have it back out, and I'm not going to race that way. But use the lapper as a pick. It's like, all right, we got 3rd. Bobby and Trent were gone. It's okay, but I'm bad at restarts. I was not looking forward to that, but pulled it out.
Like to thank any supporters you guys got with the 07 camp?
Yeah, I want to start Tommy Hibbs, yet again, his car. Bennett Design Construction, Gourmet Latte, they've been sticking behind me even with all of our mini stock issues. Hornet Nest Racing, that whole gang, they're fun to be around. Jimmy Powers, Jessica Wilkinson, they got my back all the time. And yet again, the Hornet guys and gals, this is a fun class to be in. Hopefully put on a good show for you guys.
Zach Bristol 3rd in the 07. Nicely done, Zach. Bobby, you and Trent had a great battle going, and then Zach joined in right after that last restart as well. It was kind of a 3-way fight after that restart with 10 laps to go.
You know, I don't know. I was pushing hard. I knew if I left the lane, Zach would try to get under, but also I was trying to pass Trent, and he was taking every lane I had, so I just raced hard and kept going.
I know you were strong on this layout all night. Is it one of the favorite layouts that they pull out for the Interstate Batteries Hornets?
Yeah, I like racing Hornets. My daughter races out here. I have a really good time.
I know with this 81 car, you've been having strong runs. What do you guys need to do to get one spot up there on the podium?
I'll take any spot on the podium I can get. I love it.
I'd like to thank anybody else there, Bobby, with the 81 camp.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that shows up and supports us racers, everybody who helps me in the pits, and my family, my friends, Central Welding, North Sound Fence, Lund Orthodontics, and LDP Construction.
Bobby Fisher, strong 2nd place run tonight, the 81. Congratulations, Bobby. The joys of being a winner, all the things you got to hold for the photos. Trent Gillespie, the 025. Trent, I know you probably weren't looking forward to those last 2 restarts, but a great battle with the top 3 as well. You managed to keep them all at bay. What was it like trying to hold off Bobby and then Zach as well, kind of sticking his nose into things?
Well, I got 110 horsepower and they got almost 180, so I was just pushing my car to the limit. The tires are bald now, and I'm almost out of gas.
Well, good thing she held on there through the final restart, or there wasn't another restart.
Yeah, the last restart, I missed 3rd gear, and Bobby came up beside me, and I had to hold him off, and it was a race.
That looked like a lot of fun. I know you had some rough luck last time out, so it has to feel good to come back and get your 2nd main event win of the season so far.
Yeah, I ripped off my right front corner in the heat race, and it was hard to come back from that, set the car back up, and then my qualifying wasn't too good today, which actually put me almost on the pole, so I just ran with it.
I know sometimes that clean air is all you need in those situations. I'd like to thank sponsors and supporters you guys got with the 025 camp.
Amco Motor actually just put a motor in my car. The motor that they were putting together was no good, so he took it out of his daily, and it's in my car winning races right now. And Purcell Tire, I got some shirts if you guys want some shirts. And Brandy Hood Promotions got a camera on top of my car so you guys can watch it on Sunday.
Trent Gillespie, your main event winner tonight, the Interstate Batteries Hornets. Nicely done, Trent.
Well, it's been an exciting episode of Home Track Heroes on the CW11. Thank you guys for tuning in, spending your Sunday night with us. She is Mackenzie Dietz. I'm Caleb Hart, and we will go to Mackenzie's specialty next. Our first figure eight racing of the night, the Frank's Radio Outlaw Figure Eights on the track, ready to go 30 times around. This will be a good time, will it not?
Oh, yeah. Good weather. I'm excited.
All right. Might be the first time these guys have run without moisture during the course of the
I
night.
think it is so far this year.
So we'll really be able to show off what they can do. Your pole sitters, Jim Powers, the 007, sponsored by Pilchuck Heating. Next to him, Jillian Lopato, the Hager Motorsport number 0.
Behind Jim, you got the 767 of Jamie Corbett, sponsored by A1 Auto Service Center and Ryan Berg, and the 71 of Nick Holton, sponsored by Northwest Adventure Rentals.
The third row is Ryan Clark. He runs the Bulldog Heaven Northwest number 51. Next to him, Dakota Wilkinson, sponsored by Tony V's Garage in the 25.
And behind Ryan, you got the 74 of Chris Curtis. And then next to Chris, you got the 676 of Ricky Dietz, sponsored by Tire Pros of Arlington.
50 of John Carlson, the Cowboy, sponsored by the Fireplace Guy Hearth and Home LLC, longtime sponsor for the Cowboy. As we are ready to go, green is out. You're going to get the in-car of Jamie Corbett. So watch Jamie hanging around. He's in the second row right now. He'll be to the inside, coming to the North Pole. As early race leader, Jillian Lopato has got the top spot. Now, she picked up her first career win last year. She'd be looking for number 2 here on this show, and off to an awfully good start.
Yeah, she's definitely been able to, get herself ahead of the cars, 2 car lengths in front of Jim Powers.
They built a relatively, I want to say, brand new race car for Jillian here in the off season, so she's had a little bit of time to get used to that. Hired some new help in the pit areas. Augie Vizzoni down there with Precision Traction Management has definitely helped the program out quite a bit. So we're watching battles back in the pack, and coming on through, Corbett bounced around a little from Wilkinson to the inside, goes to 51 of Clark. Clark has the advantage to the North Pole, but like we've talked about a lot of times, the advantage in one corner does not equal the advantage in the next corner. It's this weird kind of puzzle you got to put together to get to where you want to be on the racetrack in the figure eight stuff.
Absolutely. You have one side where you're on the inside, one corner you're on the inside, the other one you're on the outside. So it's really just trying to figure out, where you want to make the pass, where you want to make the moves.
Mackenzie Figure Eight Racing is in your family, and we're actually out there watching family for you. For those who are not familiar with your history, what's the familiar relationship you got here out in the Figure Eight division?
So we have a few out here. So we have Jamie on screen right now, the 767. He's my uncle, and then his brother is Ricky, the 676. And then we have Dakota Wilkinson, who is also part of the Dietz and the Wilkinson family. So, I mean, Dakota, you put a Dietz and a Wilkinson together, and that's Dakota.
There you go. So, lots of family. Do you find yourself rooting for one of them in particular, or just somebody get the win, that way we can cheer someone?
It's really hard. Obviously, I've been watching.
Well, there's Ricky Dietz interrupting your thought right into the Uke tire. The poor innocent Uke tire got munched by Ricky coming off the corner, and I think we're going to get a replay here, and we're going to see if he got some help coming in and through. Oh, yeah. Well, Chris, that one's not going to look great from the 74 perspective. Second shot, and Ricky around, and bang. Smoke show, and not the kind that he likes to put on.
No, that's definitely not usually the one that he prefers.
So, taking a look at that, and you're normally in a super stock figure eight. These Outlaw Figure Eights, the front ends are wide open, and that's part of the thing that gives them a little additional speed, but man, it risks a lot of equipment out there on the racetrack. That's going to be a rough repair for Ricky.
I'm sure it's going to be.
Nick Holton's the in-car as we come off the corner. This segment brought to you by Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keep your fridge happy by stocking it with Busch and Busch Light. Busch.
Jillian's doing a great job holding off the rest of the pack. She's been able to hold off and stay up front for this, the majority, actually, I think since lap 1. Jim Powers is trying to get her in the south turn, but she's really able to take that PTM car and just keep going.
So in the circle track, when we're on 3/8 or the 5th mile, you're always making a left-hand corner. Here, right, left, and an intersection to worry about. Does that make it harder or in some ways easier for you to build some rhythm in these cars?
You can definitely build some rhythm. Sometimes you can build too much rhythm. There's been multiple times where I've been, right on somebody's bumper trying to, make a pass or figure out when I can get around them, and I forgot to look in the intersection, and it's been close a few times.
Oof. Well, Jillian doing a great job here. She's got a little bit of room between herself and Powers, so she's got freedom to screw up a little bit if something happens. And the field not so strung out where we're getting a lot of intersection action going on. We're 11 laps into this. Jillian with the lead, Powers 2, and Holton's in the 3rd spot, and Jillian just expanding on the advantage. You can see the tail of that field is still relatively packed in close. That's good news for her. She can just make laps without having to worry about the intersection yet.
Absolutely, and there's a good shot of Nick Holton. He's been out here, but he's had some issues in prior races, so watching him, hold that 3rd spot away from Ryan Clark is really, really cool to see.
Clark in the 4th position in the red, white, and blue with black trim 51. One of the cars, there's, 3 of those cars come out of the Boney Racing stable, is that right? Curtis, Clark, and Holton?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of team action going on in figure 8 stuff, but that's good. You can share some knowledge and learn from your teammates. So it is Holton in the 71, Clark in the 51, and boy, nose to tail doesn't even, I think, quite cover how close those two are, with Corbett in the 5th spot and Carlson in the 6th position. On the outside, Clark shooting to the outside end here on the North Pole. Zahn on the steering wheel puts him in a bad position with Corbett coming off the corner. But it looks like he's able to get back into line to the South Pole and at least maintain 4th as he continues to work on Holton for 3rd. Halfway already. This race is going quick.
It is. 15 laps to go.
Especially here in the dry conditions where it's a lot easier for these drivers to get all of their power down to the track, get those sideboards leaning through the corner, give them some side bite. The Frank's Radio Outlaw Figure Eight's doing a great job. And for 3rd, we continue to watch Holton versus Clark as there's another looky leader. And boy, Jillian Lapata's just out and cruising. They nailed it tonight on the 0.
Absolutely. She is just dominating tonight, and she's really come into this car. When you get a new car, there's a lot to learn. It's totally different from what you're used to, and I feel like she's done a great job of getting out there, learning the car, making adjustments, and working with her crew and the people that they've invited on.
Can you expand on some of the things that she might be having to learn about the car itself?
Just control. Depending upon what's been changed, that steering can be different, throttle control can be different, brakes, suspension is a big one too.
Okay.
You put some new shocks in a car and it could be night and day difference.
Well, we're taking a look at a couple of guys familiar with their race cars. Battling for 3rd is now the 51 of Clark. Has worked his way, and it took a little bumper tag to do it, but he got there. He's gotten at least side by side with Holton. Corbett's in position to pounce as well, depending on which of the two of them ends up getting the advantage. And right now, if Holton can get off this corner and get down, he's got a real shot. But no, he opens the door just enough for Clark to get back to the outside. And now Corbett in danger as Carlson's used the opportunity to go side by side with Jamie. He'll shoot through. Car goes around and stuffing him is Wilkinson. So Holton, bad luck in the 71 around, and Wilkinson nosing right into the side with Corbett also spun out there. Let's take a second look at it, and around they go, and yep, 3 cars get a part of 1 wreck. Heck, 4 cars get a part of it as Curtis just barely saved that thing and kept it going straight. Another look for Holton, and that's a gross feeling.
A lot of those cars just had nowhere to go.
Well, it's tight racing here on our figure 8 course. Jamie right front kind of got over, and then Chris the left front coming over the side, and there's the hands up going, what am I supposed to do there? And a lot of stuff out of their control in that situation.
Yeah, those are the tough situations with figure 8. Sometimes you just have nowhere to go.
You're on a 1/5 of a mile track that you're making 2 passes through an intersection. Things are naturally going to get a little narrow every once in a while, right? So we're down to, looks like just 6 more cars rolling as we're going to get the Brandy Hood Promotions in-car shot of John Carlson on the restart, who is now going to have 3rd place. And boy, life, it was easy for Jillian here at the beginning, but now it's going to get all kinds of tough as behind her it is the 51 of Ryan Clark, and following Clark around, Cowboy Carlson. Now Clark's going to duck out, and back into second goes Powers in the 007, and Cowboy's going to be in third, a decent way back, as Jillian now just cruising and adding some pad, and with another car dropping out, be shocked if she ever saw an intersection here.
You know, she's still just dominating this race. With the first win that she had last year, it would be pretty cool. I mean, we've got 7 laps to go. Anything can happen, as you just saw. But she's really getting comfortable in that car, and you can tell just by the way she handles it through the corners, through the intersection.
I vaguely remember that race. It was a wet weather race, too, wasn't it?
I don't recall.
I think it was a wet weather race, so this one might be the first in dry conditions with everybody there trying to take it from her. Doesn't discount or enhance either of them. She has just done a fantastic job in picking this up and working. We're going to see if Powers, who's really enjoying a great race himself here in second place, if he can hold off one of the best in the class for years now in Carlson. Cowboy, good reputation. He's not the kind of guy, I haven't seen him dump a whole lot of people. He's not afraid to tap you a little bit, but at the same time, he is racing Powers clean, at least for the moment. 4 to go. And what's John going to do to get around Jim if he can? Powers in the turn. Carlson thinking about it. Back in. Sliding out a little bit on him on the south pole. Into the north pole once again. They'll come through the corner. And another lap passes with Jim Powers doing a great job holding off John Carlson.
He is doing a great job, and he, this is a new car to him, but this is not a new car to Figure Eight. This actually used to be Doug Wilkinson's old car, and so just watching him out here, it's kind of cool watching him transfer from the Superstock class to the Outlaw class, and he's doing a great job holding off Cowboy. You're seeing Cowboy give him a few bumps through the corners, but he's able to hold him off and even pull away through the intersection.
Hasn't been rattled a single time. Meanwhile, this is all Jillian's to take home. One more time, she'll have to pass through the intersection. Off the south pole, there will be nobody waiting for her through there. The crew is going to make their way to the front straightaway. Jillian Lapato gets the W in dominant fashion, and what a great run for Jim Powers taking second. John Carlson is third. Let's talk to him on the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium.
Well, Cowboy, that was an interesting race to say the least, and you got to watch quite a bit of it happen in front of you. What was that like?
When you're racing and you're back there in the back, you watch things, you see things happen. There was an issue that happened with the 767 and the 74 car in the north turn here, and I was like, well, that wasn't going to be pretty. And I knew something was coming, so I just figured I'm just going to sit back here and wait, and it did. It happened down here at the other end.
Patience is a virtue that seems to have paid off. Third place tonight, what helped you be able to do that?
Everybody reckoned in front of me for the most part. It was pretty much going to be a single file race tonight. It was really hard to make moves on guys. Track's been hot, tires are getting slick and slimy, and guys are running a lot better. It's hard to make passes on these guys.
Who would you like to thank for this podium tonight?
I got to thank my buddy Tony, first of all, working out of his shop. He's not here, but he's back at home. That's for him. I got my Cabo Local sponsor guys are over here. And then they're helping me out a bunch this year. This one's for them, too.
Driver the number 50, the Cowboy, John Carlson. You came up from the Superstock Figure Eights into the Outlaw this year. How's it feel to take home this second place?
Amazing. Earlier today, I broke a ball joint, and Jason Holton, Jake Repman, Jessica Wilkinson all helped me get the car back together so I could make the main. A huge thank you to them.
What's it like holding that second place spot, looking behind you, seeing all those cars moving around, waiting for an opportunity to pounce?
You don't look behind you. You focus in front of you.
Who else would you like to thank for your performance out here tonight?
Pilchuck Heating and Conley Family's Roadside Service.
Driver of the 007, Jim Powers, second place tonight. Win number 2 in this division. Watch you do it in the fair. You did it fantastic then. You did it fantastic again now. What's the secret to holding that spot?
The same secret as last time. Don't look back and have a good spotter.
Sorry. All right. You did fantastic out there tonight. driving that Zero machine. What is it like racing with some of these veterans out here in this class who've been racing forever?
Honestly, sometimes it's a little intimidating, especially being a young female, but I think we can do it just as well as them, and we proved it tonight.
And who would you like to thank for that good performance tonight?
Precision Traction Management. We have Wild Knights Racing, Waltz Demo and Excavating, Polk Brothers Racing, Ezel's Chicken, Monster Demo and Excavating. The list goes on, but those are my biggest sponsors currently.
Driver of the Zero, Jillian Lepedos, winner tonight.
Well, cool. Frank's Radio Outlaw Figure Eight all done. Let's move on. The BECU mini stocks are there. Our special guest is the woman behind Brandy Hood Promotions, Brandy Chavez. Welcome into the show, Brandy. Great to have you here on Home Track Heroes.
What a great opportunity to watch the race from the booth.
You're the woman that's given us our in-car shots all the time. How cool is that?
It's amazing. These drivers are just so willing to let the fans have such a special, unique view.
Well, let's tell you who's in this one, and then we'll get to share some of your stories about some of the BECU mini stock drivers that you know. They're going 30 times around here on the 3/8. Your pole sitters, Randy Dittmers in the ATR Truck Repair 61. Ellie Musgrave in the 23 right next to him. Second row, Jaden Kelly, the 24, sponsored by Tom's Automotive. And the 18 of Brooklyn Bender, sponsored by PRCBD. Third row, Gavin Ballou in the 12. Raritan Engines, his sponsor. Michael Fritz, the 2-car with Crooks and King's Barber Company in position 6. 7th, Jimmy Absher, the Absher Build LLC, number 26. 8th, the 16 of Travis Woodward, sponsored by Simon & Son Towing. 9th, Justin Brave, the 21J, sponsored by Clean Crawls. 10th, the 221 of Lyndon Smith and the PRCBD.com car. Final row, Jason Engbaum, the 27, Lewis and Main Restaurant and Brewery of Monroe. And Ronnie Absher, the 72, sponsored by U.S. Seafood, make up the 12 cars, going 30 times around. We are off and running, and there is our first look at the in-car shot from Jaden Kelly, a young lady you know quite well.
Oh, Jaden Kelly, it is amazing to watch the progress that she has made over the last 2 seasons. You know, she's getting a lot of advice from her parents who raced here in the 90s, here at Evergreen Speedway in the mini stock class.
Now, she is the cookie queen. We have called her that. She provide you the delicious baked goods in exchange for the GoPro in the car. Is that a legitimate thing?
Well, you know, I do get an extra bag or 2 to take home to my husband.
Spoiled. Brooklyn Bender, our race leader in car number 18. Michael Fritz is the second place car in car number 2. And there is one of our favorite guys to watch, Jimmy Absher, who is a crazy man behind the wheel. He is working to the inside on Fritz for second spot. Brooklyn out in front in the lead, but Absher has wheeled his way to second. There's the back end swimming in and through the corner. Travis Woodward following through in third. Woodward, a feature winner on the year. He was the opening night feature winner for his first career win, as he's already into the 3 spot. This pack, nice, tucked in, ready to go. Race leader Bender, and boy, Absher all over the back of Brooklyn looking for that top spot. He's racing strong.
Well, I call Jimmy the best smile in racing. Him and I go back a few years. In fact, he's kind of a little hero of mine.
How so?
Well, long day at the track, a lot of heat at the end, sitting on his trailer, and had a little mild seizure. And he threw himself on top of me and protected me from that mangled bump-to-pass car that was sitting right behind me.
Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome of Jimmy, is right now he is trying to work his way to the outside of your race leader, Brooklyn Bender, but the inside opens up, and Travis Woodward is going to take the top spot. Good timing for Travis. Going third to first, basically in one set of corners. He's bringing Lyndon Smith with him. So Smith in the 221 has moved his way up into second. Bender now sits third. The action behind him is good. 2 cars together. Ballou in the 12. Fritz in the 2. Let's get a second look and see what exactly the heck happened there through turn 3 and 4. Our first look's going to come from the up-top camera, and rut-row Brandy, 2 cars. 2 cars, 1 spot. That's not so good. We have one more look at it, I'm told. Your in-car shot from Gavin Ballou into the turn, and 2 cars together. No bueno. Back with more coming up next here on Home Track Heroes. We're just a few laps into our BECU mini stock main event here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11. My name's Caleb Hart. Our special guest for this segment, Brandy Chavez, Brandy Hood Promotions, the wonderful individual who brings us all of our in-car footage. And we're looking at Lyndon Smith up and on the left as we get ready to go back to a green flag restart. Like I said, just a handful of laps here into the mini stock main event. Green flag is back out, and, ooh, hey, Linden, outside groove, looking for some hay down the back straightaway. As they're all chasing, they were chasing Travis Woodward, but on the restart, Brooklyn Bender gets that top spot again.
Yeah, you can see Linden here just really cranking on that wheel on the in-car camera and see all his gauges. I mean, what a great perspective it is for the fans to see.
Is there anything specific you're looking for when you pick a driver to arm them up with an in-car footage?
Well, ones that don't think that my GoPros are a curse.
They're not. They can't be. There's no such thing.
Well, I'm starting to think they may need Sage. We have a lot of wrecks coming up.
Well, I think that you're Nostradamusing us where you don't necessarily need to. We'll find out. Lyndon Smith, who's got the in-car, around the outside, and so far, so good. Down the front straightaway, he will overtake Bender, and he has got the top spot. Smith in the 221, Bender second, and Bender got caught kind of in the muddled middle of that corner. That allowed Woodward to get by in the 16. He'll work up into second, and Justin Brave working for third. He's got it. Meanwhile, Bender kind of brake-checked Absher up there towards the top of turn 3, and Absher has to jam on the binders. He'll slow it down, and unfortunately, caution flag is out, and you can see him waving on the racetrack. Jimmy's a bit animated inside that car. I wonder why.
Yeah, he gives me a lot of trouble with the editing, and he can be very animated, and yeah, he likes to speak his mind.
So let's watch from the inside of the Absher car. Yeah, there was some stuff, and there was a hand motion. I don't think Jimmy's gonna have Brooklyn on the Christmas card list anymore.
Probably not.
That's okay. Christmas is a long ways away. They've got plenty of time to reconcile. So we're in the middle of the BECU Mini Stock A main event. We'll go back to the track on action. Brandy Chavez from Brandy Hood Promotions with us. This segment brought to you by Evergreen Health Monroe. When your need for speed gets the best of you and you end up needing stitches or having bones set, Evergreen Health Monroe is your full-service community hospital ready to take care of you when you need them the most. The Absher car might need some stitches on the bodywork on the outside of it as we get back to green flag action. You mentioned the footage and the editing on a normal basis. Like, how many hours of footage do you have to comb through and edit?
Well, on the average race day, we're out there with, 20 to 25 cameras. So, and Griffin, boy, does he have a lot of fun going through all that footage.
I can imagine. So, at the start of the day, you say you go through and you kind of pick, and it's mostly the drivers who want the thing in car, right?
Oh, it's very competitive. They all want to be on the show. They all want to give their best, and having a GoPro is no exception.
I think it's good luck. I'm saying it's good luck. Out in front, Lyndon Smith, Justin Brave in the second position. Travis Woodward sits in third. You mentioned that Lyndon, he's got the piece all mounted up, and you've been working with him since long before his mini stock days.
Yeah, we go back to the Hornets, and he still had the 221, so he's easy to spot when I'm walking through the pits. He's just a very nice kid, and probably the only teenager I know that does not have social media.
Wow, that is a thing. So you wouldn't even be seeing me talk good about him on the Evergreen Speedway social media pages during the week, would he?
No, just anything you'd say about him on the show.
This is a good thing to remind you that Evergreen Speedway active on social media. Follow us on Facebook and more. Just look up Evergreen Speedway. Smith with a dominating lead, half a straightaway over Brave and Woodward, who are side by side. Now it is Woodward making the pass on Brave. He's got the second position, and now we'll give Lyndon as much of a run as he can. With all of the in-car footage that you shoot, Brandy, did the drivers request full race footage so they can go back and watch what they did?
Well, funny enough, they all start hounding me right after the race, and I tell them, give it about a week and check the Brandy Hood Promotions YouTube channel for your full coverage of that race.
They're using it as a teaching tool for themselves, right?
Yes, they are listening to their engine, they're watching their gauges, they're steering how they approach going into a turn, and how their car is reacting when they come out of the turn.
That's originally where the in-car footage kind of came about, as drivers wanted to see is take a look. Ooh, the two-car of Fritz for the second time is sideways and to a stop. And, well, hey, we've got at least one more replay. This one from Baloo. Into the corner they go, and Gavin might have given him a little love tap on the way in and around. So Gavin Baloo into the back of Fritz. Fritz spins out on the inside of the corner, and Unfortunately for you, your prediction of a couple of spins and such like that has come true so far. Brandy, this is your fault. I'm just saying, you can't Nostradamus that kind of thing. We call it the commentator's curse. You spoke it into existence, and now it's happening. That's all right. All right, so a cool angle now from Travis Woodward here in the upper left-hand corner. I bet you got to love this as we come back to green. Woodward chose to start on the outside here of Linden in the 221, and this awesome changing of the colors as the sun is setting. It's got to give you some spectacular looks.
Oh, when I pick where the GoPro goes during the fair, they're all going on top.
That's right. Catch all the fair lit up and ready to go. It's Woodward running second. Linden did a great job of getting away from him. Here on the restart, back straight away, and Linden's got 4 or 5 car lengths on Woodward. Third looks like Brave has got it, and here comes Absher shooting his way back up the field. So Jimmy's worked his way up and into fourth and is threatening the top 3. Meanwhile, Fritz in the 2 and Ronnie Absher in the 72, side by side for position, right in front of Brooklyn Bender in the 18. And one spot back from them, Ellie Musgrave in the 23 car, another driver that you're a little familiar with.
A few years ago, I had the honor of doing an interview with Ellie Musgrave as she was explaining how she was able to come back to the track after having brain surgery at Children's Hospital. What a remarkable story she is.
How did you get involved with racing? What brought you to Evergreen Speedway for the first time?
Well, my brother knew I had nothing to do on a Saturday and asked, hey, you want to go down and watch our friend Cole Reardon race? And the green lap, he got his door ripped off. He was out of the race, and what do you know if I wasn't back a couple days later to watch him on 4th of July, and I now call Evergreen Speedway my second home.
That doesn't take much to get you hooked, does it?
It does not. It does not at all. And I have hours of entertainment at home, rewatching a lot of this in-car action, and sometimes it's really tough when one of your friends gets into an incident.
At the same time, if one of your friends ends up having success, you get to live it twice.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And sometimes I'm the benefit of that trophy.
Very cool. Jimmy Absher in 4th in the 26, Gavin Ballou in the 12 car, as we have got 8 laps to go here in the BECU Mini Stock main event. And again, our special guest in the booth is Brandy Chavez, Brandy Hood Promotions. She's the one who is doing all the awesome in-car shots we featured a ton of here this year on Home Track Heroes with you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it. This Mini Stock main, it's been all Lyndon Smith after a little while as we have got a car spun out. Oh, Jason Engbaum pointing the wrong direction, so Engbaum will get fired back off. We've got 7 laps to go. We haven't talked a ton about the actual race here, Brandy. Lyndon is up and in the front spot. He's got a really good field in behind him. It's prediction time, not of the wreck variety. You think he can hold out and get the rest of what's done?
Well, what I would be watching out for is that wily veteran right behind him in Travis Woodward. He has patience like no other driver I've met.
Okay, so we will see. It's Woodward who you're looking at his rear tail right now in front of the Absher shot. Woodward outside, Lyndon inside, through the corner. Bottom line, it's the short way around Evergreen Speedway here. Woodward getting all the way off into the new paved area, trying to find something in the middle to get up and to. Lyndon Smith cannot do it, although he's going to duck inside going into turn number 1. Can he outbrake him into the turn and out apex him? Lyndon keeps his foot in it. Woodward looking for main event win number 2. They go door panel to door panel into 3. Lyndon picks up on the throttle a little bit sooner. Travis still on the bottom, catfishing the low groove. Makes even more progress getting up to him. Lyndon takes a wider berth through the corner, keeps more of his momentum up. Woodward down on the bottom to the rear corner panel. Give it to Lyndon for the time being. Woodward still right there with only 4 laps to go. And Brave in the 3rd position in case anything happens in the top 2.
Justin Brave, he is a lot of fun to watch out there on that track as he is trying to hunt down those leaders.
It's been a really good race for 4th and 5th, too. Jimmy Absher, Gavin Ballou been driving each other awfully hard as they go side by side. Boy, Jimmy made Gavin think about it for a second. Coming off that corner with just 3 to go. Absher gets wide up and around the racetrack. There's going to be Ballou opening it up from the bottom, so he's solidly into 4th. 2 more times around the 3/8 to decide it. Smith, Woodward, Brave, evenly separated as Smith managed to turn away the challenge from Woodward on the restart. But like you said, Travis, very patient. Now it's time for the patience to wear off and to go for it. If there's anything left, he's got to put her down right now. Lyndon Smith to the white flag one more time around here in the same main event.
Well, let's just see if Lyndon can keep that car pointed straight, because, boy, here comes Travis Woodward.
One more time in through the corners. Give the victory to Lyndon Smith. He will take the checkered flag first. Travis Woodward a solid second. Give third to Justin Brave. Let's go down to the podium, the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium, and get some thoughts from tonight's winners.
You had some speed in that J21 machine, managed to get side by side with Travis a few times. Walk us through those battles and what more you needed to get past him.
Yeah, both Travis and Lyndon, great guys, great drivers. And we were right there, but those Mustang motors are huge, and I'm trying to keep up. We're getting close. It was a great battle today. Love racing these guys. They're the best. It's hot in there.
I'll keep it short then. Who would you like to thank for your third place tonight?
Have to thank my sponsors, Clean Calls, Cascade Marine, Pace Engineering, Craig's Race Shop, Central Welding, and of course my parents for all the love and support they give me. I couldn't do it without them.
Driver of the J21, third place, Justin Brave. That final restart, you were right beside him, just barely couldn't hold on to that spot. What more do you think you needed to get past Lyndon?
I think I was getting a little tight at the end, and so was Lyndon, and we're not going to wreck each other for, I'd love to win, but I'm not going to go out there and wreck somebody. It's just clean racing. That's the most fun I've ever had racing.
Most fun you've ever had racing. Take home second place tonight, right behind that number 221. What makes him a hard competitor to pass?
It's a good car. We're getting ours ready. Today we had a little problem in practice and everything, but we'll get him next time. I promise.
Driver of the 16, you have any other people you'd like to thank?
Yeah, all my teammates from Caliber Collision that came out and watched me tonight. My wife, my son, all my sponsors, Brava Pizza, Caliber Collision, FX Pro Auto Salon here in Monroe, Moonshine Barbecue, Steve Peters. There's many more that helped me out here. Grandpa on the motors. This thing's a rocket.
Driver of the number 16, Travis Woodward, second place tonight. I think the first question I have to ask, you were the first driver to really make that top line work on the restarts. What's the secret to getting that 221 machine around the high side?
I don't know. It just made it around the corner. I drove it in. I hit the gas. It didn't break. I didn't crash, so I'd say it worked.
You had that exciting battle with Travis there in the final laps. He had a lot to say about you. What do you have to say about him, that battle between the two of you?
He's a wonderful driver. I love driving with him. I followed him from the back. We made it to the front. Once it was top four, it was game on. Those last few restarts, he was scaring me because car set in really tight. I couldn't get out of the corner, and he was showing it.
And who would you like to thank for your performance tonight?
I got to thank PRCBD, Brandon Built Kitchen and Bath, Bosworth Trucking and Grading, JBR, Hunt Motors, the fans, Joel, my stepdad, my spotter, my mom, my grandma, Aaron, everybody who's made it so I can get out here today.
Driver of the 221, Lyndon Smith, wins tonight.
Well, congratulations to Lyndon Smith. Fantastic win for him. Thanks to Brandy for stepping in for a little bit for you. We let Mackenzie step out, get rested, get ready to go, because we're going back to your expertise, the wild and crazy Buzzin' Steakhouse Stinger 8s at the racetrack now.
Oh, yeah, I have a feeling this particular race is going to be very interesting.
Are you going into prediction mode like Brandy just was?
Nope, I'm not saying anything.
All right, well, if it's not wild and crazy, I'm holding you to it. Front row for this main event, Ron Powers, the 4, Cody Weldon, the 151, sponsored by All Ply Road Roofing, LLC.
In the second row, you got Randy Moffitt, 102, sponsored by B&R Drywall. And next to him, you have the 46 of Michael Hathaway, sponsored by Rep and Welding and Rail.
Row 3, Kyle Shukar, the 78. Ashley Shukar, the 111, sponsored by Hop Racing. Row 4, it's Andrew Renders in the 40, Whidbey Donuts, and Michaela Larson, the 57, who's sponsored by her husband. Nice guy. 18, J. Jackson Beckel, the JBR Racing Car. 19 of Talon Kohler, the Rays Espresso of Machias Washington Machine. And then we get even faster into that row.
The 49 of Calvin Miller, sponsored by Precision Forestry, Inc. out of Arlington. And next to him, we have the 16 of Peyton Hop, sponsors by Papa's in Monroe.
Final rows, Damon Claiborne, the Abendroth Equine, developing the horse and rider, number 43, and Robert Smith in the 42, sponsored by Honda and Toyota of Seattle. Triple box on the look-see. Shukar's got the back vision on that one. That's kind of a cool shot. As we're up and running, green flag is out. Mike Hathaway using the front bumper a bit, coming into the corner. Ooh, look at that, look at that.
Oh.
He
made a hole.
He muscled his way through. That's okay. If there's not a hole there, make one. As Hathaway trying to jump out into the early lead on this field. They'll go 30 times around our figure 8 course, around the inside. And again, there's not a turn 1, turn 4 in this. We call it the North Pole and the South Pole. Right now, the car that's leading is in the upper right-hand corner in Hathaway. He is currently exiting through the South Pole. There's the grandstand on the left and into the intersection.
And you got like 3 rows of 3 wide going into that turn.
Are you seeing the bottom left corner here with Ashley Shukar and the chaos?
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Oh, that's how little baby Stinger 8s are made, is it
Michaela,
not?
I don't think you can park there.
You can't park there. That's wrong. 151 of Cody Weldon, the 102 of Randy Moffitt, and others all involved in this catastrophe of Stinger 8 madness. We've got more madness coming up right after this. You're watching Home Track Heroes live here on the CW11. Chaos reigned for the very first lap of the Stinger 8 main event, the Buzz Inn Steakhouse Stinger 8 main event here on Home Track Heroes and CW11. Mackenzie Dietz and Caleb Hart in here with you. Let's get back to the action on the track and let you guys know this segment is brought to you by Sparkle Wash of Puget Sound, your source for residential and commercial power washing services for over 55 years. Their technicians can handle it all. No project too big, no too small. Log on to sparklewash.com and schedule a complimentary quote. Sparkle Wash of Puget Sound. 2 by 2, we are stacked up and ready to go, and Mike Hathaway, car right out of your own stable, Mackenzie, out and in front and leading this race and looking really good doing it.
Absolutely. He's back from his he was gone the last race, so Jake subbed for him, so he's back in and he's doing good, trying to hold everybody off.
He got something to prove. He can't be giving up the seat anymore if he goes out and wins this thing. So out in front, we're almost 3 wide coming through the intersection already as cars battling. That is the 42 of Robert Smith. Smith started deep in this field, and he has made his way well through. He's bringing Peyton Hop with him. You're watching the 4 of Ron Powers and the 111 of Ashley Shukar do some battle. Renders is now taking the top spot away from Hathaway, so Andrew Renders is out in front. Hathaway 2, and in third is Kyle Shukar, complete with the purple neon lights on the front of his race car. Hey, if you can't keep your hood down, you may as well put some purple lights out in front of it,
I checked his welds, and they're good.
His welds were good?
Yeah, they're not going to come up this race.
I'm not buying him a grinding wheel for Christmas?
Nope.
All right, good to know. It is Renders in front, gives second to Hathaway, Shukar in third. There is already a little bit of intersection happening as one of our drivers at the back of the field splitting the difference. I think that's Weldon's 151, who's already in danger. Meanwhile, Smith in the 42 has made a really impressive run up this pack already as he's worked his way. He's trying to work his way around Hathaway for third. Hathaway leaning on him, and that might cost the both of them as underneath goes Calvin Miller. Peyton Hop going to follow him into third and fourth. And there's a shot in the shorts as retaliation coming to Mike. Got the good Rep and Welding and oil bumpers on the thing. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and it's a little bent, but it's still on there. The weld's held.
All right, that's all that matters. So we're watching Andrew in front in the 40, and intersection is busying up already. Shukar in second in the 78. A couple of cars back from him with Calvin Miller, the very versatile driver. We've seen him in so many different things be competitive in the third spot, but that battle up front getting tight. Meanwhile, they're 2 by 2 and leaning on each other all through the field further back in the pack. This is going to get chaotic in a hurry.
You know, and I almost didn't recognize the 18J because last time I saw him, he was in a black car, and this time it's a white car.
Well, they've got lots of those 4-cylinder cars in the JBR stable, right?
Yep.
They can just pull out another one whenever necessary. So there goes Beckel. And hey, Damon Claiborne put big door numbers on. Thank you, Damon. Meanwhile, that's your leader. Renders ends up having to make a right-hand turn all of a sudden. And, hey, new leader Kyle Shukar out of nowhere. What in the heck?
Looks like there was a lot going on
Whoa.
coming into that intersection.
That intersection's getting all types of busy. So Shukar now with Miller, they'll both manage to find a decent place to get through, and Peyton Hopp has worked his way into third. Meanwhile, Ashley Shukar, multiple 18 cars, the 18 of Jackson Beckel. Looks like there's another 18 trying to weave his way in there, so I'm catching. All right, so 18J, there's Beckel. What was the other car that I saw through there? I'll figure it out. We're all right. Might have been the 19 of Kolar. Okay. That 8 and that 9 needs better definition, but I'm not going to write him an angry letter. Not yet. So Shukar, Miller, look out, and Ashley Shukar, rather than go through the intersection, says, I'll just turn right. Blend back in. It'll be great.
Remember what I was explaining earlier? Sometimes you're so caught up in the battle that you just forget to look.
Oh,
it sounds
goodness.
like it's... I mean, it looks like it's happening a lot here.
It's like half this field is forgetting what the heck they're doing.
It's very easy to do. You just get in your rhythm, and you want to do everything you can.
Cody Weldon tags your leader, and around goes Calvin Miller. And now Shukar smoking the tires to come back at him and nearly runs him down through the intersection. Holy Jeebus. What is going on to these guys? It's not Friday the 13th, is it?
No.
The moon isn't in its most full state, right?
It might. Maybe Mercury's in retrograde.
This is strange. So Miller now leads, Shukar 2, Smith 3rd. Maybe they'll settle down here all of a sudden. So we're only 13 laps in.
I was going to say 17 to go. I don't know.
This is going to get crazy. Miller is trying to stretch his way out from Shukar just in case he has a, momentary lack of thought going through his brain and forgets that you go right, then left, then right, then left, as the intersection again gets a little weird. He can make up for it. So Miller, Shukar, and Smith. Meanwhile, Hathaway and Hopp splitting the difference on Weldon, who's been an agent of chaos during this main. They'll both make it by for now. Smith up onto the back of Kyle for second as we watch Calvin again try to get through the intersection. Hathaway and Hopp should be 4 and 5 on this lineup as they're trying to make their way through. And you can see that the 49 of Miller has at least a set of corners on 4th and 5th place at the moment. So he's starting to build himself a bit of pad just in case this gets even weirder.
Well, I mean, he definitely has, which is fantastic. But as you saw in a few laps ago, that could change at any moment depending upon what happens and what comes up at the intersection.
Heck, it was just a little ways ago on Home Track Heroes where your leader got clobbered in the intersection on the very final lap to cost him a win. So for second, this has been a really good race between the 78 of Kyle Shukar. And, I mean, look at that weird, I mean, it's technically a spoiler on the back of it, but certainly looks odd on the Smith 42 car. It almost looks like 3 shark fins back there, but I'm guessing there's
It does, because you can't see that clear plastic part.
Right. Either way, very cool visual effect on that machine as he continues to work over Kyle. Kyle's having a really good race sitting in second. He's done a good job of hitting his spots, and, if not for the tag from Weldon at the wrong time, he might still be leading this deal.
Well, and he's still getting a couple bumps from the 42 car, too, but he's able to hold it on. And, this class is definitely one of the more closer contact, I would say, classes that I've watched.
Is this more or less physical than the 8-cylinder figure 8 racing? Or about the same? Yeah, I mean, you can say about the same. That's fair.
I would say about the same. However, there's definitely a lot more contact in this class.
So running their way through. They're 3 wide at points. There's Claiborne again making the move. And 4th and 5th and Hathaway and Hopp are coming in right to that pack where your leader is in that pack as well. Calvin Miller in the blue, white, and black 49. Weldon, agent of chaos, gets into him again through the intersection. And you got a new leader. It's Kyle Shukar again. Well, I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. He got
Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's fair. Ashley Shukar in the 111, working inside Larson in the 57. As here comes your lead 3 up onto the back of them. Are we going to see Shukar on Shukar violence? This could make for a very awkward dinner table coming up later this week. We're about to find out. We do. Kyle into Ashley. Does Ashley come back? She does. Oh, she doesn't. She let him get away with it.
Oh, there's still time.
Oh, you're right. All right. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch too much. Your top three have broken away from fourth and fifth as Shukar making it difficult on Miller trying to get in and around. We've got 7 laps to go here. Miller has to check up. He smacks Peyton Hopp as they try to get through the intersection. Calvin Miller to a stop. He'll fire it back up.
Oh, and there's Michaela.
Wow. Larson nearly clipped him.
She has no fear.
So, you can't run in these cars, can you? So your race leader is Shukar 78. Smith is right there. They're up on the back of Larson. Ashley Shukar pulled off and into the infield, or into the inside. I guess that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I saw a flag, and I see one of the officials running to something.
Huh.
Hopefully everything's okay over there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Oh, no, there's sparkage. As we come through, we're into the North Pole on its way through, and we're down to just 5 laps to go. Make it 4, and boy, Kyle Shukar is going to have a whole lot of Robert Smith's front bumper over his back bumper cover here with just a few laps left, and Michaela Larson, that's not a terribly slow car in front of him. She's doing a great job keeping pace, so a fast car to try to work past as well with 3 to go and a dynamite battle out front of the Buzz-In Steakhouse Stinger 8s. Getting down to the very end, Shukar and Smith dogging the lap car of Michaela Larson. Intersection pretty clean for the pair. Smith again with a bump at corner entry and a little bit of a bump at mid-turn. Shukar doing a good job of getting to the low side and protecting his lane. He's gonna force Smith to bump him out of the groove if he can, but Kyle gets it around and accelerates again. This next time by, we're gonna see the white flag and 1 to go. Shukar and Smith, one more time around. Smith backs out of it, getting into the intersection, lines up one more run in the South Pole. Through the turn, little bump. Shukar makes it through. If he can get to the inside of the North Pole, he's got a good shot to keep it. Smith, one more bump. Can't get him wide enough, and Kyle Shukar takes the win over Robert Smith. Bust out the sundial while we wait for third place to come through. It looks like it's going to be Calvin Miller, but we're quickly going to the podium for your interview.
Calvin, you were in the lead for a second, then got together with a lap car, then had a collision in the intersection, and somehow still finished third. That has to be almost a win in itself there to come out and survive this one.
I mean, yeah, I think it was a really good race. It was a lot of fun. Lap traffic made a big difference. In the lead, they got hit in the intersection. At the end, they were a whole lap ahead of me, and then come through the intersection, and I hit Peyton on accident, and I was like, it's never going to stop. I wanted to get done shooting the X and just be done. I'm tired and sweaty, and I'm glad it's over. It was a fun race.
You had 2 hard-charging races tonight. Unfortunately, you got in another incident in the Hornet race, but still came up to finish 5th. And you mentioned you're pretty tired. What's it been like having to get back at it after multiple setbacks through tonight?
It was fun. It wasn't that bad. I'm really glad I had a few races in between these two, the Stinger and the Hornet race. But the Hornet race is pretty good, good drive back to the front. So it was a fun night.
I'd like to thank sponsors of the 49 camp there, Calvin.
Northwest Poly Services, Precision Forestry, Brandy Hood, Cox Wheels Racing, my mom and dad, my sister, and everybody that comes down to watch me.
And we'll let you get your bumper now.
Yeah, I was trying to go get the bumper and put it back on. It's expensive.
Yeah, we'll let you go get that. Calvin Miller, 3rd place tonight in the 49. Nicely done, Calvin. Robert, coming back out here, having a strong run. I know you were looking on Kyle there for those last few laps, but just unfortunately didn't find a hole to try and get up the inside of him.
Yeah, man, he ran that thing hard. I saw the right rear brake on 151, and I didn't want to drive through him. I wanted to make a clean pass, and I just couldn't make it happen.
I'd like to thank everybody that helps you get back out here. I know it's your first appearance of the season here with this 42 car.
Yeah, wife, kids, Instant All Body, Honda and Toyota of Seattle, Red Strand Salon, Jessica Troutman with John L. Scott.
We got the shot. All right, perfect. Kyle, you had to hold on there for about 10 or 20 laps or so, and the right rear looked like it broke on you as well.
It was definitely broke. I felt it. I knew it. I just kept driving.
I know that's pretty much the only thing you can do in this situation. I know you had the 42 all over you there for those last few laps. What was your mindset trying to keep him back?
Keep him behind me.
Look forward, keep him behind. Like to thank any supporters you got with the 78 car there, Kyle?
Yeah, B&R Drywall, Randy, my neighbor, my dad. There's so many of them. Got a new one coming on next race. It's going to be a good season.
Kyle Shukar, your main event winner tonight, the Figure Eight in car number 78. Nicely done, Kyle.
Well, congratulations to Kyle, Shukar family, picking up an exciting Stinger 8 win. Mackenzie, we're spoiled on this show. We get 2 Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model main events, and here comes the second one out to the racetrack right this very second. Front row of this one, Ted Lindgren in the 88. American Image hair replacement is sponsored. And next to him, Nick Beecher in the 45. Nick sponsored by Kendall Auto Group. Row number 2
is Chad Fitzpatrick, the 12C, sponsored by Trademark RCS. And next to him, you got Colton Price in the number 14, sponsored by D2 Foundations.
Dawson Cox drives the Busch Light 7D. And next to him in row number 3, it's Greg Bennett, the 98, sponsored by Bennett Design Construction.
We got Caden Holm in the 4th row, number 9K, sponsored by Johansson Mechanical. Next to him, we have the Nama Lang, number 18, sponsored by J&R Truck Rentals.
And in the 5th row, Haley Constance, your runner-up in main number 1, sponsored by Joe's Racing Products. And next to her, the 16, Daniel Moore, your feature winner from the previous one, in the PRCBD-sponsored number 16 car, starting 10th.
In the second to last row, you have Brad Thomas, number 5, sponsored by Armageddon Arms. And next to him, you have Dan Beecher, number 74, sponsored by Beecher Motorsports. And in the last row, you have 32 of Chase Gardner.
Chase getting some very valuable seat time here on the day on Gundy's Auto Recycling Night at Evergreen Speedway here on Home Track Heroes as Chase move up from the mini stock division. Him and his dad, Mike, working on that late model together and getting some valuable seat time. We're off and underway, and as Nick Beecher is prone to do, Nick Beecher shoots out to the lead. Very often we see him out in the front of this field in the Pro Late Model Division. He's going to lead lap number 1. For second, Lindgren in the 88 doing battle, and I think that's Colton Price who's weaved his way to his outside. So Lindgren, the former street stock driver, first time in the Pro Late, and outside him Price, the former mini stock guy as well. Looks like he's nosed ahead and he's going to take over position number 2. So it is Beecher, Price, Lindgren 3. We got a car around, and oof, Chad Fitzpatrick's kind of bad day as far as being around goes continues. Fitzpatrick over there, more to a stop, and off in the green grass, I believe, Greg Bennett. Let's get a look at the Brandy Hood Promotions in-car from Chad. As he's going to go around, he'll take a shot as he skids up racetrack. And to a stop now from Bennett's car, and into the bottom of the corner. Around goes Bennett. Wrong place, wrong time for Greg, the veteran. And now from Nama Lang as we get into the turn. And you can see in that point of view.
That was some quick movement by him.
Well, that's seat time and experience and that quick reaction that lets a guy get out of the way. Almost to an extent, seeing a wreck happening before it actually does.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, when you see something like that in front of you, it's hard to know exactly what the cars are going to do. So you only make a decision quickly and hope that it works out.
It's a confidence-building thing as a race car driver when you can trust yourself to have that quick reaction time, right?
Absolutely.
So, back in front, in car from Haley Constance in the upper left-hand corner. Green is out, and great opportunity. Colton Price gets to start on the outside of Beecher in the 45. They're going to go side by side at the entrance to the turn, but Colton Price showing strength, and he's going to jump into the lead. Dawson Cox going to try to follow him around Beecher on the outside, but that opens the bottom up, and in a budding rivalry we've seen here, Nama Lang, Dawson Cox. Nama's going to come up and through and steal away third place from Dawson, and going to look for second as Beecher out in front of the both of them has to try to defend 2 lanes with 2 guys right in behind him looking to steal it from him.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement so far early on in this race. So, I mean, you have Haley who's right behind Dawson Cox as well. So, yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Haley's got to be riding a big wave of confidence after that first main event and running such a close second to Daniel Moore in it. So, Haley right there. She is in the 5th spot. And Moore, after being involved in that lap 1 tangle, is right in behind her with Bennett not too far in behind him. Flash forward for second. Lang ends up dispatching of Beecher. So Nama's in 2, bringing Cox with him. Cox down to the inside of Nick, the 7, flashing next to the 45. And I'll give it a couple of laps to play out here, but it sure looks like Cox has got the stronger car and the preferred race line. At the transponder loop, position changes. Dawson Cox has moved his way into a podium finish, at least for the time being. Still a lot of race to go, though. 43 laps left. Big smoke out of Nama. I don't know if he ground out or something, but you
Yeah,
saw.
I think he ground out on the backstretch.
All right, so
Got
ground.
into some dirt.
Make sure the rest of the car is okay. He'll get into 1 and 2. Doesn't look like the attitude of the car has suffered too much. It seems like he has the same amount of power that he did before. So it'll be Lang and Cox 2 and 3. Beecher 4. Constance 5. Beecher, that car is just stepping out a half groove at the corner exit, and that's giving Haley a look underneath him. She'll take a look underneath him going into 1 and 2 as well, so there's position for Haley to possibly move forward and up into 4th if she can time it right. Nick did a better job of keeping the car low in the turns that time by. Everybody chasing Colton Price, who is well and gone 10 laps into this. Lang 2, Cox 3, as Nama just looking for opportunity to try to close, but out in front by a whole straightaway early on in this contest is Colton. So Price leads 11 in. Your defending track champion and his young budding rival sit second and third in Lang and Cox, and that's the race that we've watched for the most of this segment so far here on Home Track Heroes. Seeing if Dawson Cox can keep pace with Nama and if he's got opportunity to get on by him. 7 of Cox has been in victory lane a couple of times here in his Pro Late Model career. Again, a 50-lap twin feature here on the day, as there's the move for 4th that we thought might be happening at some point. Constance has gotten to the inside of Beecher. Power move to the bottom of 1 and 2. And if there's anything we've seen here today in the Pro Late Model is that the outside of 3 and 4 is definitely not the place you want to be. So Haley's going to take over 4th spot, and Daniel Moore going to look to follow on the bottom of the racetrack. He's in 5th, and he's got it. Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model A main event, the second of 2 50-lappers, will continue coming up next. Thanks for being with us here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11. Welcome back here to Home Track Heroes on the CW11 for our final segment of what's been a fantastic show. I'm Caleb Hart, she's Mackenzie Dietz, and we're watching the second of 2 50-lap late model main events. The Pro Late Models are sponsored by Speedway Chevrolet, as is this segment. Speedway Chevrolet, visit them and their RV center in Monroe for customized trucks, lifted trucks, work trucks. The Speedway Chevrolet can locate the truck that fits you best. Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center also wants your trade and will buy or consign your vehicle or RV to take the hassle out of selling it on your own. Your race leader is Colton Price. That's the black and orange 14 that you see coming into just 22 laps to go, 28 laps into this. That's second place, Nama Lang, in the white, blue, and, I don't know, orange, pink, fluorescent something. Number 18 car is your defending track champion, and the Busch Beer sponsor, number 7 of Dawson Cox, right in behind him, currently running 3rd. This main event, once Colton got out to the front of it, Mackenzie, has been, I'm going to say, pretty quiet. That distance between Nama and Dawson really hasn't expanded, really hasn't shrunk here for 20-plus laps.
Yeah, it's
a mark of a couple of drivers that are pretty evenly matched right now out there.
Yeah, anything could happen in any turn, and it's just, watching these 3 cars and Colton kind of just taking off, I wasn't expecting that, so he's really impressing me right now.
He's having a fantastic showing here. Cox lost a little bit of ground to Lang. You saw the last time that he exited turn number 4, that back end kind of kicked wide on him. That was some sharp driving to keep it underneath him and not lose more ground than what he did to Lang, who looks super smooth, but having absolutely no luck closing on Colton Price, who's so far gone, he's out of the picture at this point. So with 19 to go, make it 18 to go, 32 laps in to this feature. Our first main event went to Daniel Moore earlier on in the program, and there is Colton Price in 14. He has dispatched of, I think, Brad Thomas's 5 cars. I look at him flying in and around the screen. He's got more traffic ahead of him in the form of the 32 of Chase Gardner and more. You can see the right front. It's one of my favorite things here on these late models. Oh, car around in front of your leader and eclipse Price. Gardner around in turn number 3, and Colton Price might have gotten a piece of it. Let's take another look here at what happens. Well, just like you said, anything could happen in this. And going into the corner, car is spinning, and yeah, Price definitely got a piece of that. And Colton Price, your near race long leader, is going off raceway. My goodness, things change in the blink of an eye.
It really can. I mean, it looks like on the backstretch you just caught that lip of that pavement and got into the dirt and then went to enter 3 and got a little loose. Spun him around.
It's amazing how fast that actually ended up happening. Like, car around, just in the way that it came. Colton couldn't get away. So now, side by side through 3 and 4 for the race lead. They're going to come off the corner, and we'll go green. Naima Lang assumes the lead. Dawson Cox, great opportunity. If he can get that thing to handle just on one restart with a chance to drive up and around Naima, but Naima powerful on the bottom, he's going to get that top spot. Cox has enough to try to get around his middle, but Naima holds it now. Dawson's got to get back low on the racetrack because Haley's sticking a nose in, and there goes Constance, and we've got a race car that is no longer. Holy cow, the front is gone off the Lindgren 88. Let's take a look and see what happened. Down the front straightaway. Oh, Ted caught the Uke tires. A second look at it in slow-mo. My goodness. Paging Dr. Front Clip, you're needed on the 88, as that was vicious.
And I saw his window net coming down, so he is moving, which is really good. That was that was a hard hit.
I've worked a lot of years in chassis construction for various different types of race cars, and the car it's out there. It's the performance device that we're out there using to get around and get to speed. But at the end of the day, its base job is to protect the driver.
Absolutely.
It is it's not the last line of defense, but it's the primary line of defense for the driver against injuries. We're going to get a caution flag here in this restart. So to see Ted drop the window net of his own doing is awesome news. Caution light's still going to blink around. Not sure what that was for the restart, but we'll get him lined back up and try again. So once again, that red was for Ted Lindgren. Now we're going to take a second look at this, or not a second look, we're going to take a second try at getting this race lined up and good to go again. So Naima Lang, your leader in the 18. Dawson Cox second, the 7, and to an extent, a benefit for Dawson because Haley Constance had a really monster run to his inside and was threatening to move him back on this field. So Dawson catches a break there.
She definitely did, and yes, he did.
It puts Haley in an interesting position. She'll be on the inside, and we've got some really quick drivers right in there. It should be Daniel Moore, our first of the 50-lap main event winners here on the day, starting outside of her. Row number 3 is Caden Holm in the 9. Greg Bennett having a good day in the 98. He is in the 6th spot. Nick Beecher in 45. Outside of Nick.
I think that's his dad.
Yeah, it's
Dan Beecher.
Dan in the 74. Brad Thomas in the 5. And Chase Gardner has managed to continue in the 32 car. So 10 cars left to go, 16 laps. And this is just a shootout at this point in time for these guys and girls. They can put her down and see whatever you got left and may the best man or woman win.
Yeah, you got your top 3 from the last race and your top 4 currently.
Working around, and Haley got caught in the muddled middle there. Drifted wide, but I don't need to bury the lead. Dawson Cox actually led that lap. Getting around the outside, Dawson Cox has got the lead by a nose over Naima Lang. 2 distinct, very good battles here at the front of the field, and Cox pedals his way to the top spot. Naima back to the bottom to try to take it from him. Behind him in 3rd, Constance and Moore. It looks like Constance got it back as Moore twitched and dropped a spot. You were about to say.
That and Dawson's definitely making the outside work for him. We all know that the inside groove is where the racers want to be, but he's making the outside groove work.
It's the fastest the outside has looked all day today. Now through 1 and 2, Naima got it back. You wonder if there's a dial in the car that Dawson turned, and basically the only cockpit adjustment they have is what's called a brake bias adjuster that adjusts how much front brake you have to rear. You got to wonder if Dawson said, I'm going to be on the outside. Let's adjust my brakes a little bit to change where I'm getting through the corner to make him more competitive on the outside. He's side by side with Lang. Lang really fighting hard to retake the top spot to the line. Transponder doesn't lie. It's still Cox, but it's got to be hundreds, if not thousands of a second, because you can visually see Lang getting closer and, in fact, pulling ahead down the back straightaway this time.
And right behind them, you have a great battle between Constance and I believe is at home. You know, they're nose to tail as well. So, I mean, the top four have two just great battles going on.
Nema ends up getting the top spot from Dawson. He'll get ahead, and Dawson pulled out of that top groove and is now tucked back in to try to follow here for at least a lap. You can see Lang, and we talked about Dawson earlier having to swim the back end of that car around that last time coming off of 4. I saw Nema having to do the same thing. Holm looking inside of Constance for third in behind him. Caden Holm in the 9 car, who has been very fast, if not for the mechanical gremlin that's jumped up and bit him a time or two on the season. Trailing around Haley, who's looking to podium twice on the night. They're a ways away from your top 2. So we're down to just 7 laps left here in the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model A feature. So Nema in the 18, Haley in the 7, Dawson in the 7, my bad. 1 car plus separates the 2 of them as they get into 3. And as this run gets a little bit longer, Lang looks to gain strength. He's either getting stronger or Dawson's fading. Either way, the gap is growing just a little bit, lap after lap. The 2 of them are gapping 3rd and 4th pretty significantly here as we come into just 5 more trips around our 3/8 mile oval.
You got 3 sets of 2.
1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, back there running 5th, 6th. You've got Daniel Moore trying to get back by Greg Bennett, who's having a really good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So almost done as we're closing in on the finish, and obviously at this point in time, there's absolutely no reason to save anything. Your foot down to the floor as hard as you possibly can, right? Looking for the top dog, looking for the big trophy and the biggest check here at the final. Lang, who has been a fixture in victory lane at Evergreen Speedway and is our defending track champion, opening up the advantage over Cox, who's just hoping for anything, waiting for a Nema mistake, which just doesn't happen all that often with all the experience that he has around our place. With 2 to go, back at the field lingers a straightaway away, but unlikely that they're going to get caught here in the final couple of circuits. And again, we'll watch what happened to Colton Price. A lap car close enough and one mistake, you can race day can be over in a hurry.
It's kind of like what we talked about earlier as far as watching the in-car from Lang and having him and, you know, try to miss Fitzpatrick. It just, you never know where the car is going to go, and you have to make a split decision.
So Lang with 1 to go, just hoping for a clean lap here as he's opened her up over Cox into the 3rd corner and off of turn number 4. Another win for Nema Lang. Cox is going to take 2nd. We will give 3rd to Haley Constance. Now, we understand producers telling us that we're not going to have a podium going on here as we got to get to the end of the show, unfortunately. It's been a jam action-packed version here of Home Track Heroes. Mackenzie Dietz, thank you so much for coming in. It was a blast having you once again.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do it again later in the year because you got to get into your race car. And on next week's program, we're coming up with our Memorial Day doubleheader, and classes that we're expecting to see in action include the big rigs, the street stocks, the super stock figure eights, where we'll see Mackenzie. We may even have the legends on the program as well. Next time you can be live here at Evergreen Speedway is on Saturday, the first Saturday of June. DriftCon coming up. We had a bunch of fun with the Big Bounty Tournament and DriftCon the first time. More drifting coming up here at Evergreen Speedway the first Saturday of June. Make your plans to be with us. Want to thank everybody who is a part of bringing this show to you. Of course, Mackenzie Dietz on color commentary, our special guest, Brandy Chavez from Brandy Hood Promotions, and for the production crew and everybody, the staff and management of Evergreen Speedway. I'm Caleb Hart. We'll see you next Sunday night here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.